What if I told you that Felix Felicis, the luck potion in Harry Potter, is not actually about luck? What if J.K. Rowling accidentally, or maybe deliberately, wrote the most precise description of how manifestation actually works? And what if the real magic of Felix Felicis has been available for you all along? No cauldron required. Welcome, witches, wizards, and magical souls. I solemnly swear that your magic is limitless. So here is the scene in the Harry Potter saga that can change a lot of stuff for you, as it did for me. When Harry drinks Felix Felicis in the Half-Blood Priest, do you remember what happened? He doesn't suddenly become invincible. He doesn't get handed everything on a plate. He doesn't sit back and watch luck rain down on him. Instead, he feels certain, completely, unshakably certain of everything is going to work out. And from that place of certainty, he acts completely differently. He makes different choices, he follows instincts he would normally second guess, he works towards things he would normally walk away from, and it works. And it works extraordinarily well. But here is the question that nobody asks. Did the potion create the luck, or did the certainty create the results? Because what if, and stay with me here, the potion didn't do anything magical at all? What if it simply gave Harry access to a state of mind that actually changed how he moved through the world? And what if that state of mind is something you can access right now without any potion? This is what we're going to explore in this video. If you want to find your own Felix Felicis, your own luck, stay here. So let's start with what we actually know about Felix Felicis potion. It takes around 6 months to brew. It is extraordinarily difficult to make, and it is banned in competition situations, exams, Quidditch, elections, because it gives an unfair advantage. And also a key detail, it doesn't work the same way for everyone. It amplifies what's already here. It works with the person's existing abilities, instincts, and desires, not instead of them. Slughorn describes it perfectly. It makes you feel as though you can do anything, as though everything will go right, as though the universe is conspiring in your favor. And from that feeling, things go right. This is not random and this is not magic. But because the person taking it makes better decisions, takes bolder actions, follows instincts that are usually drowned out by fear and self-doubt, Felix Felicis doesn't change the world. It changes the person moving through the world. It changes the vibration of the person and not the world around. And that distinction, that single crucial distinction, is everything. Now let's talk what happens in your brain when you feel certain. Because this is not mystical, this is neuroscience. When you operate from a state of confidence and certainty, when you genuinely believe that things are going to work out, your brain literally functions differently. The part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex that is responsible for decision-making, creativity, problem-solving, is more active. You think more clearly, you see more options, you make better choices. And your amygdala, the fear center, is less reactive. You don't freeze, you don't over-catastrophize stuff. You act. You notice opportunities you would have missed when you were in survival mode. You approach people differently, and they respond differently. You take the conversation one step further. You make the ask you would normally talk yourself out of. You follow the instinct that your anxious self would have second-guessed into oblivion. Felix Felicis, in other words, is a chemical that temporarily gives you access to the optimal version of your own nervous system. And here is what is extraordinary. You actually have the ability to access this state without the potion. Yes! Let's have a short brief about manifestation for a moment. Because it's a word that gets thrown around a lot, and it means very different things to different people. There is the version that says, think positive thoughts, visualize what you want, and the universe will deliver it to your door. And there's a version I believe in, which is much more grounded, much more powerful. Manifestation is the process of aligning your internal state with the reality you want to create, and then acting from that alignment. It's not passive, it's not magical thinking, It's not about bypassing efforts or pretending difficulty doesn't exist. It's about the relationship between what you believe is possible and what you actually do. Because what Felix Felicis shows us clearly is this. Harry doesn't sit in a corner and wait for luck to come to him. He moves. He wakes up, he gets up, he acts. He follows in his instinct. And remember this, intuition is very important for the action of Felix Felicis and manifestation. He acts from a completely different internal state than usual. Instead of, I hope this works, or I'm not sure, or what if it goes wrong, he operates from another place, which is, this is going to work. I know it, and I can feel it. And that shifts from doubt to certainty, from contraction to expansion, from fear to trust. This changes everything about how Harry engages with the world around him. And this is manifestation. It's not the absence of action, but action from a fundamentally different place. Now, if you have been watching this channel for a while, you will probably remember that we talked about self-fulfilling prophecies in a previous video about Trelawney. The idea that what we believe tends to shape what we experience, not through magic, but through the very real mechanism of how our beliefs change our actions, our attention, our interpretation of events. Felix Felicis is the most perfect illustration of this in the entire saga. Harry believes, completely in his bones, without reservation, that this is the night where everything is going to go well. And so he notices the opportunity to go to Slughorn that he might otherwise have dismissed. He takes the conversational risk that his usual self-doubt would have stopped him from taking. He reads the situation differently, more generously, more openly, more creatively. And Slughorn, who has been resisting for months about this memory that Harry is trying to get, finally gives him what he needs. So, did the potion do that? Or did Harry's certainty do that? I would definitely say that Harry's certainty did that. The potion just gave him permission to access it. And here is the question that matters. What would you do differently if you knew, really knew, in your bones that it was going to work out? What conversation would you have? What step would you take? What thing have you been holding back, waiting until you feel ready, waiting until you felt certain enough that you would finally do? Because that question, what would I do if I knew it would work, is your Felix Felicis. So how do you actually access this state without brewing a potion for 6 months with some unfindable ingredients? So here are 3 principles that I've been taking directly from how Felix Felicis works and translated into something you can actually use today. Principle 1, act as if. This is the core mechanism of the Felix Felicis. Harry doesn't wait to feel lucky and then act. He takes the potion and then he acts as if luck is already on his side. And you can see the same thing when Ron thinks he took Felix Felicis. The action and the belief happens together. So your practice for this week is going to be, before something important, a conversation, a creative project, a decision, ask yourself, how would I approach this if I already knew it was going to go well? And then do that. Act from the answer and not from the fear. Principle 2. Follow your instinct. One of the most striking things about Harry and the Felix Felicis is that he follows his instincts that he would normally not follow. He's going to Hagrid instead of going to Slughorn first. It seems wrong, it doesn't seem efficient, but something is pulling him there, his intuition, and it turns out to be exactly right. So your practice is going to be when you have an instinct, a pull towards something, a sense that this is the right move, and your logic mind immediately starts listing the reasons why no, you shouldn't. Pause and ask, is it the fear talking or is it wisdom talking? And learn to tell the difference. Principle 3. Stay in the present moment. Felix Felicis doesn't make Harry anxious about the future or regretful about the past. It grounds him completely in now, in the conversation, this moment, this opportunity right in front of him. So your practice, when you notice your mind racing ahead to all the ways something could go wrong, come back. Breathe in, breathe out, and one moment, breathe in, and then, what is actually happening right now? Because most of the time, right now is fine. And the fear lives in the future. The opportunity lives in the present. All right? So I want you to leave this video with one more thing. Felix Felicis is bottled up in a tiny vial. It is rare, precious, used sparingly. And I think this is intentional. Because the state it creates, that deep, grounded, unshakable certainty that things are going to work out, is not meant to be your default operation mode every day, every second of every day. It's meant to be accessed intentionally, for the moments that matter only, for the conversations that count, for the steps that feel terrifying. So, here is your invitation for this week. Identify one thing you've been hesitating on. One step you keep not taking because you're waiting to feel ready, waiting for some external sign that it's the right time, and ask yourself, if I had Felix Felicis this morning, if I woke up knowing that today everything was going to go right, would I take this step today? And if the answer is yes, take the step. Not because you're certain, because you're choosing to act as if you are. This is your potion, bottled in a decision. This is your magic available right now. So, Felix Felicis is not about luck, and it never was. It's about what becomes possible when you remove the doubt, when you act from certainty instead of fear, from expansion instead of contraction, from I know this is going to work instead of I hope it doesn't fail. The potion doesn't create magic. You do, okay? The potion just reminds you that the magic was always here. And so does this channel, every week with one video, one idea, one lens, one reminder that you're more capable than your fear would have you believed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave me a comment below to tell me, what if the one step you would take today, if you knew, like Harry under Felix Felicis, that it was going to work out? And then, go take it. Action is gonna make the difference, so let's go now! I'm Alice, and I'll see you next week in the next video. And until next time, remember, the one chooses the wizard, but you chooses everything else. May your choices be your magic. And may your actions be your magic too this week.